Welcome to 5 Great Villain Songs, where we talk about one villain song from each of the 5 categories: non-Disney movies, theater, TV shows, video games, and fan-made. These are not ordered in any way and will release a volume every month. Feel free to let me know what other songs you want me to talk about in a future volume. In the meantime, enjoy the show.
And the whole world has to answer right now to tell you once again who's bad.
Riddle me this. How much time does one need to accomplish a proper villain song? 4 minutes? 5? 3? 2? 1.5? Music and lyrics are always in malleable service of their great master time, and depending on the character's goals and ideas, you can be more elaborate in a song, or condense it. So how much do you think a villain song could accomplish in, say, 30 seconds? To make a truly legendary piece with such constraints, the music and lyrics had better be the A-game, and the timing sharp. So sharp, you won't feel a thing. Ow! Coraline, childhood familial neglect morphed into eldritch horror at its finest. I suppose when your life is dictated by finding mundane and the even more mundane amidst parents who aren't super stoked to divide their attention between you and a gardening article, being greeted by a personalized anthem from your alternative dimension dad would be a deceptively dubious breath of fresh air. Now, the absolute genius things one can shove into 30 seconds.
About Coraline. She's a peach, she's a doll, she's a pal of mine. She's as cute as a button in the eyes of everyone who ever laid their eyes on Coraline. When she comes around exploring, Mom and I will never ever make it boring. Our eyes will be on Coraline.
That's it? That's the whole song?
Not exactly subtle references, although not as blatant as one may think. Upon first watching Coraline, you don't know the other mother wants to sew buttons in Coraline's eyes before hearing this song. The lyrics may well go over your head even after several watches, as the jaunty, agile piano tune washes out any sense of dread, danger, or disturbia fashioned by what the words are really trying to say. Yes, buttons, eyes, doll, that much is very cleverly strung together. But wait, there's more! When realigning the lyrics from their normal strophic lines, you can spell out the phrase, "button in the eyes." The final stanza refers to the last act of the movie, where Coraline must play a game with the other mother in order to find her parents, and they'll never make it boring. If she loses, she must have the buttons. Their eyes will be on Coraline. You know, for kids! Coraline's ample villainy and dread all flow from their deepest, darkest source, the other mother, aka the Beldam. She's a sort of seamstress monster who preys on parentally dissatisfied children. She's a peach. What, she gets become the Beldam's little treat later? PG rating, guys! The other father is technically the secondary antagonist of Coraline, and thus it would constitute a villain song in a, secondary sense. However, a clip from later in the movie shows mechanical, almost puppeteer hands coming from the piano that aren't manipulated by the other father, but rather the other mother. And take a good look at what's really playing the piano in this theatrical tune from hell.
This piano plays me. Ugh.
The song is sung by the other father, but's controlled by the Beldam. Just because mommy and daddy love each other very much doesn't necessarily mean the same for our needle and thread counterparts. The other mother controls the other father, and the way she controls and communicates with the children she's captured is via a doll. As seen later in the film, he has no desire to hurt Coraline at all. In fact, this song is a warning. She's a pal of his, after all. Perhaps amidst the pile of sewing entendres is a cry of hope from the other father, and to an extent, other Wybie or the other children. Their eyes will be on Coraline, watching to see if she will be the one to save them and unravel the Beldam's curses. Warning, the following clip has been known to induce lethal facepalms. You have been warned. So, remember the Netflix Death Note? With that in mind, what if I told you there was a good Western adaptation of Death Note.
You lie! You lie!
Yeah, believe it or not, Death Note the musical is actually an incredible adaptation, up there with some of the best. In fact, it was made before the Netflix version. The musical is a fairly close adaptation of the original manga, albeit a heavily condensed and shortened one. One difference is that Light is a bit more outspoken about his beliefs. Just take a look at his first song, Where is the Justice?
Where is the justice when the guilty all go free? Why don't we lock them up and throw away the key?
I see a young man's anger burning in your eyes.
What you see is my impatience with your noble compromise. Show me what's right about the wrongs that we allow. Real people need to feel protected here and now. This whole damn system's broken way beyond repair. It's just law, not law and order, not much good and seldom fair.
We established Light's character in less than a minute. He's a young man with a fiery sense of justice. Unfortunately, he still has a very childlike view of the world and believes that good and evil are inherent forces. Of course, his teacher points this out.
Your simple arguments have all been made before. The world's not black and white, the choice not either or.
Perhaps it's time we drain the color from it then, till we're back to seeing black and white and wrong and right again.
Overwrought pronouncements won't improve the paradigm.
Till lawyers cutting deals becomes a crime. Let the corporations make the regulations and hold no one accountable when everything goes wrong. Let the rich and famous get away with murder. Every time a high-priced mouthpiece starts to talk, his client gets to walk. Tell me, where is the justice, if there's any justice?
His teacher has seen plenty of people perform the same spiel as Light, pointing out that all his bravado stems from an overly simple view of things. Of course, Light refuses to back down. Foreshadowing his eventual popularity as Kira, Light's fellow students join his cause.
What good is law that can't punish those who break it?
Politicians make their speeches all day long, while judges pushing pencils mostly get it wrong.
Instead of loopholes for the law to fall between, let's some good old-fashioned payback, grease the wheels of the machine.
Isn't everybody sick to death of all this stuff? Can't we all stand up and say enough?
And taken at face value, all of Light's arguments are completely correct. Laws do not apply equally to the rich and powerful. Fines are not an effective punishment for the upper class. Laws are dictated not by the people, but by those in power. Then you remember that this is Light Yagami, the guy who will murder anyone he deems as even the slightest threat to him. His pride allowed his noble goal to manifest into arrogance, which led to his inevitable downfall. And while he did massively decrease crime and end war, he ended up becoming far worse than the people he claimed to be against. So was it really worth it? Speaking of times when Jeremy Jordan played a prideful character named Light,
Hey Josh, when are you gonna talk about a Hazbin song?
Josh, talk about Hazbin
Josh, come on. Hazbin song! Hazbin song!
Okay, I'll talk about it. I won't lie, I'm not exactly a fan of either Hazbin Hotel or Hell of a Boss. Like, no shade to the fans of them, and especially not to Vivzy. It's just very apparent that these stories are not made for me. I don't know, maybe I'm just too old for the humor of these shows. But if I do have to give Hazbin some leg up, not only does it have better villains than Helluva, but also better villain songs. Vox, the leader of the V's, is an overlord who spearheads technological innovation in Hell, as well as a longtime rival of the radio demon himself. He has a smooth-talking savviness of a corporate mastermind, coupled with the rage of a million short circuits. All his might and prowess is best displayed through, what else? A musical number.
Welcome home. I'm gonna make you wish
said you stayed gone.
Being high up on the food chain for so long, Vox felt invincible for a while. When his good old pal Alistair resurfaced, it drove him nuts. It's clear they had a massive beef long ago, and whatever it may be, it's enough to make Vox feel genuinely threatened. So to remind everyone who's in charge, more like reminding himself really, he takes it live as he lays down jab after jab on Alistair, delivered through super fast electro swing. All of this just deflects how much hell society has evolved, moving out of Alistair's radio era into the fancier video era.
You can take that as gospel. Pulling my view is impossible. I'm visual. He's barely audible. Stop giving him the time of day. Don't listen to a word he'd say. I hope he had a nice vacay, but he shouldn't stay away.
While other songs like Hell is Forever and Respectless may have their own sick beats, though I may be biased against the former, this one just has the most going for it. Between Christian Borle's phenomenal vibrato, Vox jumping from one program to the next, and some really stellar wordplay to top it all off, it's just good.
While he hid in radio, we pivoted to video. Now his medium is getting bloody rare.
Of course, his tirade only lasts so long before the radio demon claps back.
Salutations! Good to be back on the air.
Yup, this number's a music battle, and that does my heart so good. Alistair broadcasts his counters like a sophisticated old-timer and hits Vox with burns hot enough to give him a total meltdown. Eventually, it peaks with Vox blowing up his own operation, unintentionally giving the center spotlight to good old Al.
Let's begin. I'm gonna make you wish that I'd stayed gone.
Stayed Gone is a really entertaining display of two villains butting heads for dominance, perfectly establishes Vox's egomania as well as showcases that Alistair is more than just a really strong demon. He's just as domineering behind the scenes as he is on stage. I guess it's a little ironic that they clearly want us to root for Alistair here, even though a big part of it is appreciating his end of the song through visuals. Hell's a nest for hypocrites. For what it is, the song does a hell of a job of introducing this rivalry to our screens and speakers. Warning, the following segment discusses an incredibly graphic adult game. Please turn away if you are bothered by the subject matter. This also applies to you, editor. There's also an insane amount of gore, but YouTube doesn't seem to care about that as much.
I'm sorry, could you speak up? I couldn't quite make that out.
This is the horrific sight that awaits you upon starting Saya no Uta. Protagonist Fuminori suffers from a unique form of synesthesia after an accident that causes him to perceive the world as this. As most people would do in this situation, he quickly loses his grasp on sanity. That is, until he meets a girl named Saya, who looks human to him. You have 3 guesses to figure out what the twist is, and to show you I'm serious, you only have 1 guess.
Correct.
Long story short, Saya is actually an eldritch abomination from another dimension. Horrific consequences occur as a result of their romance. And regardless of what choices you make as the player, there's no way for them to stay together. The closest thing there is to a good ending, where Fuminori's senses are restored, has him break up with Saya and spend the rest of his life in a mental hospital. And for this beautifully tragic romance, there's no better song to close out with than Shoes of Glass. 'It can easily be seen from both Saya and Fuminori's perspectives. Both of them had someone who meant the most to them after arriving in an unknown world. Then, they had to give them up. will ever be the same. The only thing they have left is their memories of each other. Even more so with Fuminori. He willingly turned himself in, knowing that he could never have a normal life again after his crimes. And then there's the absolutely gorgeous guitar solo, right out of Silent Hill. Like the game itself, it's beautifully sad. Despite the genuine love Sai and Fuminori had for each other, the relationship ended up making them into far worse people. The best decision they could make was to break it off. Man, who wrote this game? Oh, that explains a lot, actually.
Now watch us play our part. Now watch us dance and sing. Don't want to fall apart like kids who never seem to scream.
With all the disrespect animation is getting nowadays, can't help but imagine that one day, a bunch of cartoon characters start forming an uprising against the CEOs. And when they do, this is gonna be their anthem.
Let's hope this time we can get this band back together again.
As a tie-in to the second chapter of Bendy and the Ink Machine, DA Games produced a haunting gospel number where Bendy, Boris, and Angel sing directly to Henry, the first game's protagonist. Already off the bat, the music frickin' slaps. The tone is eerie, but the beat is fast-paced and heart-pumping and jazzy. You know your life's probably in danger, but I'll be danged if it doesn't get your toes tapping. And then there's the story itself.
Within stars, tis the rhythm days, but our instruments have all grown tired. And in the end, our only dream was to dance. They took the dance away and we got retired. But that was long ago. We have a new change of pace. We turned it up a couple notches with a brand new pace. We picked the orchestra beat, the train is asleep, but the beat is done, and now we want to get out.
Here we get a twisted insight into the Ink Monster's mindset. They were once titans in the entertainment district, but bad business ethics and corporate disagreements forced them into retirement. Then Joey Drew, Henry's partner and one half of the guys who founded the studio, decides to try and bring them back to life with the titular Ink Machine. Yeah, how'd that go for you, buddy? Anyway, then in comes good old Henry to restart the machine and bring all the ink beasties back to life. Now they want out for good.
You're the conductor of this performance now, Henry.
Will you take their word or ours?
Golly, I hope this works. You turn on this machine. Now you have to believe.
They don't like having to rely on you given the company's history, but you started this, and they'll make sure you finish it and get them out of this ongoing cycle of despair. While Build Our Machine is arguably DA Games' most recognized Bendy tie-in song, Gospel of Dismay is a phenomenal fan song. The eerie music and clever use of wordplay chill us to the bone, all the while forcing us to see this whole scenario from the cartoon's point of view. Even without absorbing the insane amount of lore, you can't help but sympathize with the hand they've been dealt, especially since it's partially your fault for not being buddy-buddy with your partner. Kinda blurs the line of who the real villain is in all this, but hey, still get an awesome song out of it. And yeah, I mostly said it as a joke, but this should serve as a cautionary tale to CEOs. Be nicer to your cartoons and those who make them.
Are you amen?